JBNN will keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, one of St. James' most wanted, fatally shot in police operation. Tevon Poppy Johnson, one of St. James' most wanted criminals, was on Tuesday night fatally shot in a shootout with the security forces in Mount Salem. The 26-year-old, who is said to be a top-tier member of the Alliance gang, was wanted for several murders and shootings in the parish. It is reported that about 11 p.m., a police military team carried out an intelligence-led operation in Crawford Street in Mount Salem, which is under a zone of special operations, in search of Johnson, who was said to be staying at a premises in the community. On arrival at the location, the security team was reportedly fired on by Johnson. They returned fire and Johnson was shot. According to the police, a pistol was recovered from the body. They indicated that Johnson was one of the high-value criminal suspects operating in the St. James Police Division, noting that intelligence has linked him to several crimes over the past decade. In anticipation of street protests over Johnson's death, the security forces are maintaining a strong presence in the area. The matter has been investigated by the Inspectorate and the Professional Standards Oversight Bureau and the Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM. Court sends Councillor David Brown's assault case to mediation. Councillor for the Montego Bay West Division in the St. James Municipal Corporation, David Brown, made his first appearance in the St. James Parish Court this morning to answer assault charges following an alleged altercation with a woman in May. Brown, who had no attorney, entered a not guilty plea when he appeared before presiding parish judge Sasha Mary Ashley. The court was told that on May 28, the female complainant, with whom Brown had a relationship, was sitting in her car when he knocked on the vehicle's window. The two reportedly got into a dispute during which Brown allegedly hit the complainant in her face, causing pain and swelling. At court today, the matter was subsequently referred to restorative justice to allow the parties to resolve their differences, following a submission by the complainant's attorney, Martin Thomas. In his submission, Thomas told the court that the underlying issues between his client and Brown, which had led to the altercation, could be settled at mediation. Brown is slated to return to court on September 4. Brown had previously run afoul of the law in 2018 for allegedly hitting a 65-year-old man with his licensed firearm on August 3 that year. Brown spent 5 days in police custody in relation to that incident before eventually being released. Prior to that incident, Brown came under fire for reportedly verbally abusing a woman on social media in March 2018. Two-vehicle collision causes traffic pileup on Bustamante Highway. A two-vehicle collision, which included a Toyota Hiace bus and a truck, caused the traffic pileup on the Bustamante Highway in Clarendon on Wednesday. The driver of the truck, Cranston Lewis, said that the accident occurred due to a disregard for the road code by motorists. I was going towards Mandeville. The bus was heading to Maypen side, but there was a JPS truck on the left-hand side that was doing some deep bushing with some cones on the road. So there was a line of traffic coming from the Mandeville side, he said. So apparently this gentleman decided he was going to make 3 lanes with some other vehicles, so them overtake the line of traffic coming down. I see them coming down and I drift off the road. One of the man them that was overtaking stopped on the bus and the bus swing and head straight to the truck. He further explained the bus was transporting boxes of pineapples. Both the drivers had 1 passenger each who sustained injuries. They were taken to the Maypen Hospital for treatment. Lewis said his assistant received injuries to his feet. Portland fisherman charged with assault. A Portland fisherman has been charged after he allegedly pulled a gun on another man during an incident in Sunshore, Portland on Saturday, July 8, charged with illegal possession of firearm, assault or common law, and assault occasioning actual bodily harm is 30-year-old Christopher Gale, otherwise called Puck, of a Sunshore address. Reports from the Mansion Hill police are that a man was at home when he heard a woman and Gale arguing and went to investigate. Whilst checking, Gale pushed the man to the ground, after which he pulled a gun, pointed it at the man and then ran. The matter was reported to the police and an investigation launched. Gale was arrested and charged on Monday, July 10, when he reported at the station as part of his condition of bail in another matter. He is set to appear in the Portland Parish Court on Friday, July 14. Convicted missionaries murder denies racist motives in killing. the St. Mary farmer, who earlier this year pleaded guilty to taking part in the brutal and shocking 2016 murder of 2 United States missionaries in St. Mary, had reportedly confessed to shooting both men, claiming Black Lives Count. Something coming at me I couldn't control, Dwight Henry, who is now 33, reportedly told the police during a question and answer session when asked why he killed the men. But Henry, who is currently serving a life sentence for the missionary's murder, today sought to distance himself from that confession and utterances. He insisted that he had only shot and killed one of the men, while his cousin, Andre Thomas, shot and chopped the other man in his head, killing him. "I never forced him to do it. He did it of his own will," he said. The main witness, earlier when asked by the prosecutor why he had shot the man in his head, said, "It's just a strange feeling come over me. That's why I did it. But I am really sorry. That is why I plead guilty. But I never may do it alone." Henry had previously pleaded guilty to 2 counts of murder under a plea deal and was in January sentenced to life in prison with a stipulation that he served 28 years in prison before being eligible for parole. Randy Enzel, 48, and Harold Nicholas, 53, were found dead in Wentworth District in St. Mary on April 30 and May 1, 2016, respectively. Enzel's body was found on a Saturday in bushes with a gunshot wound to the back of his head and his hands bound behind him, while Nichols' body was found the next day with a gunshot to his chest and 6 stab wounds to his head some distance away from his colleague. Both men had left home on separate motorcycles to visit a site where they would be carrying out repairs on a house. Today, when Henry took the stand in the Home Circuit Court, where Thomas is being tried on 2 counts of murder, he gave his version of how the murder took place. According to him, on the day of the murder, he and his cousin were in the bushes chopping coconut jelly when they heard a motorcycle. Thomas, he testified, pointed an Intertech weapon at one of the men, stopping him, and the man complied. Henry said he ordered the man to lie down on the ground and cut off a piece of his shirt and tied his hands behind him. By this time, he said the other missionary had disembarked his bike and was being led by Thomas, but managed to break away and run. Thomas, he testified, then fired a shot at the man, and they both chased the missionary, and he fell into a pool of water. He said Thomas then shot the man and chopped him in his head more than once. According to him, they went back to the spot where they left the other man tied up, and he shot him in his head, and both he and Thomas went their separate ways. Henry told the court that he never knew the missionaries before the day of the murder, and although he had pleaded guilty to their murder, did not know their names. Asked whether he and Thomas had any discussion on the day of the incident, or whether the victims had said anything, he answered in the negative. However, during cross-examination from Thomas's lead attorney, Leroy Equiano, a different version of the murder emerged. In that version, Henry reportedly told the police that he was the one who stopped the men by pointing a gun at them, and then ordered one of them on the ground and tied him up. He then shot the man after a feeling came over him, and when the other missionary heard the shot and ran, he also fired at him, but the man kept running. Both he and Thomas chased the man, and after he jumped into a pool of water, he shot him, and Thomas dropped him. Henry reportedly told the police that he had planned on killing the men when he saw them. In answer to the police, Henry also reportedly shared that a friend of his had given him the gun and that he threw the machete in a river. Henry, who for the most part was very reluctant to answer the question of whether he had recalled giving the police those answers, and in most instances did not answer. He said he did not recall telling the police anything about Black Lives Count or that he had shot both men. He firmly maintained that he only shot one of them. According to him, he was not prejudiced and loved people from all nations. On the further cross-examination, he said he did not remember telling the police that his relatives told him about things that white people do to black people that make you hate them. Henry insisted that he was not angry at the missionaries nor hated them, and that the feeling that he claimed came over him had nothing to do with hatred, revenge, or cruelty. Henry will undergo further cross-examination tomorrow. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.